Hey guys, it's Aaron here with Off Grid Fabrications. I'm pretty excited this evening because I actually have my van in here in the shop. So we're going to be doing some upgrades to the van, and we're going to be installing a cargo platform on the passenger side, and we're going to be installing some cargo boxes. While I'm doing the install, I just wanted to take a moment and make a video about these boxes, why we set them up, the ones we use and where we install them on our carriers here, and go over some of the questions, the common questions that customers have about these boxes. We'll go over how we make these boxes and all the options we have on these. So this is our SCB series. SCB stands for Standard Cargo Box. We have an SCB 30 and an SCB 24. So the number in the name on the website is basically describing the width of the box. So this box is 30 inches. That box over here is 24 inches wide. Everything else on the box dimensionally wise is the same in the height and the depth. For these boxes these are deep boxes. We wanted to make a deeper box, and we had actually specific things in mind we wanted to store, but it offers a lot more storage. Like I put a 2-burner propane griddle in my top box on all the setups I use, but you can use your imagination, but it does open up a lot more options. And with some of these boxes being shallower depth, you might actually have to put your gear up vertical and against the back of the box, but you don't have to do that with this. So that's one of the great pros to these. But yeah, 18 inches height and depth on the inside, and then your width is 30 and 24 are your options. We make these all here in Salisbury, North Carolina. So these boxes are made in the USA. We CNC cut these in-house. We CNC bend these in-house. We fit them up in-house, and we hand TIG weld these in-house. These aren't robotically welded boxes. The craftsman's actually taking a TIG torch, melting a puddle, and filling in these boxes. So very high quality boxes at a decent price. What you have stainless steel hardware in all the boxes. The only thing that may have some steel hardware, everything's coated of course, would be the actual latch itself. Just don't have as many options there that are black, so we go with what we go with. But on the inside you'll also find stainless steel brackets, 1/8 inch thick, very strong, and Suspa gas springs that are also made in the USA. So you put the 1/8 inch construction of the aluminum and the stainless, all the nice hardware, you've got a box that's going to last a lifetime, that is going to be very serviceable. So high quality components all throughout the box. You'll notice that this box that I just had, it opens vertically. The first box, I'll change subjects here and come over to this box. We have a drop-down door. The drop-down door is great for a lower mounted box. If you've got gear in the back, if you have gear stacked in front of each other, you want to pull something out, set it down, you want to use it as a table or a temporary table or whatever, you can do that. So really like having one of these on the bottom. Coming back over here to this box is great for mounting it up higher on the platform. We came up with this because at first we had we were stacking the drop-down door boxes, and then when you're reaching up here for your second box, you're kind of having to reach over a drop-down lid, so it's not really as convenient there. So we developed this box, which just uses gas springs and raises the lid for you. You could put a battery, you could stick a light under here if you wanted to. So it really adds a lot of convenience to the box. And another thing I really like is once you get the box to about right here, it actually pulls itself shut. You can just flip the latch up and you're ready to go. These latches, well-tail style latches, they do come with a key, so you can lock it with a key, or for extra security you can slip a padlock in here as well. So pretty much sums up the boxes themselves. So after this I'll take you over and show you some of the hardware, how to install the boxes. This kind of gets into how to install, but one thing else that I would like to mention is we have a lot of people ask, you know, are these boxes universal? Can I put them on this brand carrier or that brand carrier? And the answer is yes, because we do not pre-drill the boxes for you. There's so many options out there. You could use these boxes for anything. You might want holes in the top or the bottom. We just leave that up to you, so you can take the carrier of your choice and you can just transfer the holes over and you'll be good to go. So after this, we'll go ahead and go over some of the installation methods and the hardware options for the installation. So I've done some work off camera here. I went ahead and I had this platform just laying down face up on two sawbucks here. And the reason that I have it on sawbucks is so I can still have access to the back side of the panel here. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to be able to take this Sharpie and mark my holes on the back side of these boxes. I think this is the easiest method, what I'm showing you right here, to do this. There's a lot of different methods out there to transfer over holes. You know, you could hold this up in different ways and do it. Another way I've seen is to actually put a soft blanket down, and you can lay, you know, the blanket just on the ground on the flat concrete floor where it's even, you know, just to protect the surface. And then you can lay your boxes down, and then you can basically lay those face down. Then you'll take your carrier and lay that face down on the back. You can have someone steady it for you while you mark your holes and make sure you're in the right spot. But especially with just one person like I'm doing it right now, I think this is the easiest way to go, and it's the way I always do it here. So when you're marking the holes, I've got two things that are actually important to mark or to note before I mark these holes. The first one is we've got holes and slots here in the cargo panel. I like to always mark in a hole. Yeah, the slot's great for adjustability, but if you want to be able to use a PIMsert, a threaded insert, you can only press those in the holes and you can't use a slot. So if you want to leave that option open to yourself, I suggest using a hole. Also, make sure that if you've got your hole, if it looks like it's going to be close to the edge of the sheet metal wall here on the box, I would go the next hole down and mark that hole. And the reason that I would do that is just because once you drill your hole, you don't want it to be too close to the edge that you can't get your washer and your bolt head through the hole on the inside of your cabinet. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to reach under and drill these holes. And again, you know, you can always slide under this, throw a blanket down, or, you know, get on a creeper or a car dolly or whatever and get under there and mark those holes. Just be sure that this is very sturdy, whatever you have, so it can't fall on you, and just be safe. All right, I'm going to mark these off the camera, and I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. Each box is going to come with a hardware kit. You'll have 4 3/8 16x1 stainless steel bolts. You'll have washers and nylocks. You'll also have anti-seize for your stainless steel bolts that we do recommend that you use, and you're going to have 2 keys for your latch. In addition to that, we're going to have an option available on the website, and these are called PIMserts. This will make for easier installation and removal of anything that you're going to bolt to your cargo carrier. PIMserts are mainly used in sheet metal manufacturing. You know, you're working with thinner sheet metal like this 3/16 inch thick aluminum plate over here on your cargo carrier. If you thread that, if you tap that, your threads are going to strip. They're not going to be strong enough to carry a load, and you're going to pull the threads out. So this is a stainless steel insert. I'll do a close-up on that later, that presses in to a 1/2 inch hole that is threaded for 3/8 bolts. We're using these as an option because when you install with the through bolt method, it's a very good method and it's very strong and secure. And I do really like having the nylocks on the back of the carrier. You know those bolts aren't backing out. You should still always check your bolts, you know, just make sure everything's secure on your van. But when you bolt that to the door, you're going to have to bolt it up loosely where you can still get your hands back behind the carrier, depending on, sometimes if it's on the edge you can get to it no problem, but sometimes you'll have something, you know, closer to the middle that you're going to have the carrier loose on the door to mount up, you know, whatever kind of components or accessories you're mounting on that. And a PIMsert you know, if you have this threaded into the back, that's going to really alleviate that issue. The PIM certs will come with lock washers, and that's going to be something that's going to be really important to check. You know, the lock washer should keep the bolt from backing out. Properly torquing it should keep it from coming back out. But you know, you're driving down the road, long trips, vibrations, you always want to check your gear periodically just to be sure you're being safe and responsible. So that's something that you should do. So now that we have the kind of hardware covered, I'm actually going to use PIM certs on this install, and I'm going to install this. Usually we just get the forklift and I'll bolt this all together and we'll strap it up and pick it up, but I know everybody doesn't have a forklift at home, so I'm going to do this install like you'd be doing it. And now that I've got all my holes marked, I'm going to bring a box over here. I'm going to show you how to drill it, and after we drill it, I'll show you how to press in a PIM cert. So I've already drilled one box. I'm about to drill the second box, and you should have a spring punch laying around if you bought a kit from us, but I like to go ahead and spring punch my holes first before I drill. And I'll take a 1/8 inch pilot bit. We'll run that in just to be sure I have a straight hole. Then I use a step bit to open those holes up. Our carriers also come with a step bit, so you can use that as well. Can't remember right off if, yeah, 1/2 inch is an increment on those, but usually close to a 1/2 inch or so, anywhere around there is fine. The washer, you're going to tighten these down tightly to the carrier, and you shouldn't have any water coming through at all. You could add a bead of silicone if you wanted to. I never do, and I never have a problem. It seems to me that I tighten the washer up pretty good. I just don't have any water coming in the box. Also, you'll notice if you install your carrier and look at it from the side, ours barely tilt back towards the front of the van. So I believe that helps with some water shed as well, but I never use any silicone and I never have any leaking in my boxes. So just to recap, we're going to spring punch these, and then we're going to drill these holes out. I'll go ahead and spring punch them, but I will turn the camera off before I drill so you don't have to listen to me drill on my microphone, and we'll go to the next step. So I have here a PIM cert, and got you up on the small tripod here so hopefully you can see, but this right here is an actual PIM cert nut, or a threaded PIM insert. Yeah, we use genuine PIM brand inserts, and these are stainless steel. So what we're going to do, these will be a very tight fit, especially sometimes, you know, depending on if paint has gotten into that hole or anything else. So we're going to need to keep it as straight as possible. And this is like the homegrown version of installation of this. So, you know, usually you would use a press and press these in, but we're using a really thick washer here and a carbon steel bolt. And I'm just going to be sure before I start this one up that it's truly straight here. You can kind of look at your bolt too to see if it's straight and give it a little bit of a tap. And I'm going to tighten this down flush by hand. And I'm just going to tighten this up, and I can feel that pulling in the back. Okay, so I've got it in there straight, and now it's to the point where I'm going to engage the teeth. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this up and press this in here, if you will. But this should really bury deep in there. And get pretty tight. So now I have that insert fully seated. I've kind of felt that it's bottomed out. That's a good bit of torque on this right here, and it's not moving anymore. Out there at the end of my ratchet, that's a lot of torque. So now we're just going to loosen that bolt up. And we can include that bolt for you in your PIM cert install kit, if you will, but that there's a nice threaded insert. Installed in the part. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit for you. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that for 7 more holes. And of course, before you press in your insert, you're going to want to find all your other holes. So just be sure to go back and find your other holes. I put my cargo box back on. I checked to be sure all my holes, I drilled them where I wanted to. Always measure twice, cut once and press your PIM inserts in once. So we'll move on to the next step. So you see we've got all the PIM inserts installed. They all went in nice and straight. And what you'll notice down here at the bottom is these PIM inserts are a lot closer together because I'm actually hanging a box off the bottom. When I stack the boxes in that way, it gets the boxes as low as possible on the carrier, and that's the way I like to run them. We'll get a look at that once we're installed, but that also makes it where you can still put bikes or some sort of additional cargo tray or something up top if you'd like. And this setup, like we have it right here, is actually we drew it up like this. These boxes the size to be able to fit the 2 boxes stacked together, and then the bike arms on top of that. All right, guys, so got the box ready to go on. We've got the carrier on the door and we've got PIN inserts in the carrier. So we're ready to go on here, and I'm going to set the mic over here so you don't have to listen to this scratch up against the box here, but I'm going to use this cart as a second set of hands. I'm going to come over and find my first bolt hole. I'm going to go ahead and bolt this in. Using a washer and a lock washer here. Table out. Okay, so see the transfer method works pretty well. I've still got a little bit of give and take here. I can level everything up. So what I usually do, now that I've got this on, I'm not going to make you guys watch this one go on as well, but we'll go ahead and get this other one on. I'll turn off the camera and get all that done. I usually like to take a second and just really make sure I've got everything straight before I tighten everything down. We'll make some adjustments, and then we've got one more thing to do before we finish. All right, so I have the top box on. Just set it right up here from the transfer method that we did earlier. Slid it back, everything lined right up. So I just tightened that up. I've got everything, I got this level first, tighten this down so I could just put this on, slide it back, and tighten the bolts up. So that did great. One thing that I'll mention that I usually do on my own installs, it's optional. You don't really have to do this. You can see here that we really don't have any flex between these 2 boxes, but I like to tie my boxes together with a bolt. I live in North Carolina. You know, we get a lot of rain. I've never had water come through the top of this box like this, but you know, if you're worried about it, you can skip this step. I just like my box to be tied together. When you hang this lower box off the bottom of the carrier a bit, you know, there's a chance you'll get some wiggle in this box. So I just like to tie it together. You know, if you think about it, you've got two 90-degree angles right here, and you basically got 1/4 of an inch total in thickness of material. So if you tie these two together, that's going to be super strong. Not necessary. Again, it's just something that I like to do. So I'm going to take my mic and set it over here. We're going to drill these and drop this bolt in real quick. And I'll still have some chips to vacuum out, but we're going to call it a day after that. And yeah, so just a note, whenever I have a customer and they order, you know, 2 boxes as a whole together, I always include 2 extra 1/4 inch bolts, and that's why. So, you know, you can choose to use them or not use them. That's totally up to you. This will be fine either way, but I'm going to use it real quick. So I'll get that hole drilled, and then we'll finish up this install. All right, so like I said, I've got some chips to vacuum out. We'll get that done later. But now all we got to do, just gonna tie these boxes together. I usually use 1. As mentioned, if you use 2, make sure you don't drill through over here. There's nothing there. You know, you've got to go right into that other box. I used a letter F drill bit. That's barely bigger than 1/4 inch. So you don't have a lot of extra room there. Don't really need it either, so. All right, guys, so there you have it. We've got our boxes completely installed. Got a ton of storage space here, so got our fold down on the bottom, our fold up and flip up on the top, and we've still got access to our door here. So we can reach right in, open our door, and yeah, that's it. So now you can kind of see how if this was a fold down door, if you're going to put it up higher, it'd be a little bit of a pain if it folds down. So I think this is a great improvement. Just give us a shout if we can help. Thanks for watching.